Thank you, Frank. Hey, thanks, everyone. You know, since this is our grand opening celebration, we've actually been here a couple of months now, but it took us that long to get all the bugs worked out, so we're glad we put this off a little bit. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for responding to all the invitations. And Nick and Beth, it's great to see you guys. Yeah, so many faces, just as Frank was saying, people we haven't seen in a while, but a lot of new faces. So it is wonderful to see you. Did Sherry and Ron make it? Are Sherry and Ron here? Sherry and Judy are here. Is Kelly here someplace too? Okay. Kelly. Would the three of you come up here? Do you have the, okay. What? Okay. Usher did business first. Scott is asking if anyone can kind of squeeze in a little bit so we can get a few more folks in. Is that possible? Just kind of fill in the empty seats and yeah, and then come on in. And John's bringing in chairs, so it's a great problem to have. Those of you who know us and have been with us for a while, and maybe even those of you who don't, know that one of our co-founders and our dear friend, Bob Beecham, who everybody knows as Bubba, passed away in January. And he was one of our co-founders. He's been the main leg of support that has kept us going. We're kind of in a kind of neither fish nor fowl sort of situation. You know, as a recovery ministry at first and segueing into a church, it's been really difficult to be able to fund this as we go forward. And Bubba was always there for us. He's just our greatest friend. And we have his wife, we have his daughter and his granddaughter here, and they're going to present something to us. Is that right? Is it here? Okay. It's right here? Okay. Well, come on up. Come on up. This is Judy and Sherry. Yeah. And Kelly is his granddaughter, and here she comes. And I'm going to turn it over to Kelly because I think you wanted her to speak, right? You don't want a microphone? I didn't think so. All right. Hey. Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. Anyway, we appreciate you all being here, and I know Bubba would be so proud of this day and this moment when all this has kind of just come to life and grown, and it's a beautiful thing to see, and thank you, Dave. And so we wanted Bubba to stick around, so we brought a great big picture of him that you guys can hang in the hallway. And so there he is, and here we are, and thank you all, and keep doing what you do because it makes a difference in a lot of lives, and that was what Bubba was all about. So thank you.
Thank you, dear. Right here. Bubba's going to be with us for the rest of the service, so it's going to be great. You know, I haven't even begun to miss him yet. It's just been so quickly. There's been so much going on, the whirlwind of moving the church from San Juan to San Clemente. So in many ways, I haven't had time to grieve, haven't had time to mourn. And I think that's a common sort of thing. And we're going to just be missing him, I think, more and more every day. But his legacy lives on. All of this is because of him, because of his heart, because of his generosity, and because of his drive, as Kelly said, just to want to help people. And so we're just thrilled to have known him. Love Bubba, absolutely. And what we thought we'd do, you know, since this is a grand opening, since we do have a lot of people here for the first time, what we thought we'd do is just bring up a few people to just talk about what it is that they were looking for maybe in their spiritual life, what they were able to find here, how they landed here, and how they felt at home. And what we did was we have three people, one person first who's only been here just a few months, and then someone who's been here a couple of years or so, and then a couple that's been here since God made dirt. So we'll... So Bill, would you come on up, buddy? This is Bill Fellers.
Thanks, Dave. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. All right. No, I'm not that old. Look like it, but I'm not. Before I get into why Gail and I came to the Effect, I thought I'd give you a little bit of background on us. I was born in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and I grew up there until I was in high school. And about this time of year, my folks were going to split up in my sophomore year of high school, and so I was sent off to Oak Grove Lutheran High School in Fargo, North Dakota. And it was there that I realized that I could have a personal relationship with God. And I had met a kid from the reservation in North Dakota that really resonated with me, and I just connected at that time. It was also the time when I met Gail, and we got married a couple of years later when we were in college. We have 3 children. I have a daughter that was my graduation present in 1979, and a son in 1981, and a daughter in 1983. I think I got those right. You know, as we moved around, I remember, first of all, let me back up a second, because one of the things that relates to the effect is when I first shared with my mom that I had become a Christian in high school, you know, her response was, "But Bill, you're a Lutheran," you know, and you know, for Norwegians, Lutheranism and Norwegians are the same thing. And so when we were in college, we started going to a Baptist church, which my mom really got torqued with that, because that was like the exact opposite. But as we kind of moved around in the Midwest raising our family, we lived in Texas, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, and moved out to California in 1989. We had experienced a lot of different denominational differences with the churches that we had been in. And as serious as Gail and I have been in our faith since we met, basically, we still, at this stage, still address family dysfunctions that affect myself, affect Gail, my relationship with her, and with our family. And when I first became aware of the effect, Gail had been starting in Al-Anon, and her sponsor had shared with her where she went to church, and it was at the effect. So she came home from a Thursday meeting, and I was sitting in my office, and she said, "Have you ever heard of this?" And so we went online, and there was a statement on the website that we are a community of imperfect people working together to find the emotional recovery and spiritual transformation that is the effect of God's love. If there's no effect, how can we say we're in love? And from there, I was hooked, and I spent the rest of the afternoon reading through the website and just kind of understanding what the effect was about, because I didn't want to walk into a Jim Jones cult, and I wanted to have a comfort of where the boundaries were with this group. And so when I walked in just this past October, frankly, that we were here, I felt like I was walking into a 1970s Christian coffee house that we went into in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it was in an old fire station. It was called Firehouse. And the music, I thought, you know, there was like the mamas and papas playing up front here. There was a hippie walking around, John, wherever you're at. And it was pretty neat. So, you know, since then, you know, and that first Sunday, I guess the thing that struck me was just there was such a soulful, restful atmosphere, and I remember pretty much being in tears most of the service. I was taken by the quality of the musicians, the message, and I just felt like this was a place where Gail and I can heal, and it's been a good journey. I appreciate the middle of the week workshops that we have. And what gives me credibility with this group of people that I've been learning more and more over this last 6 months is that it's a group of people that have experienced some of the hardest things that life can throw at us. And they're learning tools that I need to learn, that I need to keep learning, venturing deeper in my relationship with the Lord and finding that soul rest. I've been trying to practice during Lent, the quieting, the meditation, and that's been really beautiful to continue adventure in that. So I'm looking forward to continuing that journey with this group of people, and I feel privileged to be able to be here. So thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And Barron, why don't you come on up? Barron's been with us, is it about 2 years now, dear? About 2 years. And Barron has probably invited as many people to the effect as anyone who's ever been here. She's just a little... In fact, I wanted to clone her. I wanted to get permission to clone her, but her husband objected, so I don't know what was up with that. But thank you so much for everything. Erin has also become one of our teachers, instructors, and she's starting a new class on a deeper dive into the Enneagram on the 27th on Tuesdays, and so we just appreciate everything you've been doing, dear.
I love this church. Yeah, 2 years ago, I was looking for a church, and some friends said, you should try this effect. They have 12-step groups. They read books of authors that you love, like Richard Rohr and Thomas Keating and Brennan Manning, and they've got great worship. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll check it out. So when we were over in San Juan, I pulled up, and in my past is of the High Episcopal Church, beautiful, stained glass windows, and I saw these people. In my judgment, I was like, oh, interesting. There was this guy with long hair, barefoot, with a I don't know, a terrible word, wife beater shirt. I think we call them tank tops, though. But and I swear I thought there was a guy with a blue beard. But I thought, okay, I'm going in. So, oh my gosh, I just fell in love with. I love it when God changes my judgmental nature, because I go in with this judgmental, holier than thou, better than, and then I'm just like, wow, this is church. This is the real deal. This is love here. They practice the real stuff. And it's so wonderful. I just feel so at home here. Like Bill said, it's a perfectly imperfect people experiencing God's love. And I just have to give accolades to our pastor, who has this generosity of presence. And I've watched Dave with people, and he gives them his whole heart and time and presence, no matter who they are, in the midst of crazy moves and just busyness and coming off the stage from being in the band and giving his message. He has time for everyone. And that is such a gift, to have someone have your whole awareness. I noticed this when Marion and Dave were moving to San Clemente. There were movers there, and it was pouring down rain, and they had workers there. The workers were delayed, or they had not finished doing the work that they needed to do in the house. So the workers are there working on the house. The movers are moving furniture in. Marion's doing a million things, and Dave is talking to these workers, being so kind. I would be such a stressed out, crazy woman, on top of everyone, but he just had these kind words to say to these, workers that were just trying to hurry up and get everything done. But anyway, it's just an example of the leadership that we have here at this church that has been passed down, and by coming here every week, I am just reminded of the presence and the love of God with all of you people, and through our pastor and through Marion and Nina and Scott and Frank and everybody, and John, the loved one. So thank you. I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you, Dave.
And everything she said was absolutely true, except the beard was purple. It's absolutely purple, bright purple. I know you're all waiting to find out who has been here since God made dirt, right? That doesn't mean that they're old. It just means they've been with us since, oh gosh, it's getting to be 6-7 years now. And they've become two of our board members. So we call them Stina, but it's actually Tina and Steve, because they're just together, Stina.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I've never been referred to as old as dirt. But it's the first time for everything. I was going to say, hi, I'm Steve. I'm a Lutheran. Okay. I don't know what it is. Okay. From the frozen tundra. Thank you, Scott. Hi, Scott. So, I got a lot of stuff here written on this piece of paper, but the bottom line is God's taken me through places that I've kind of needed to be as they happened. And as I grew up, I was, raised a Lutheran, and I got this Bible when I was confirmed. Don't even know what that meant. I was just there. And it's called the Oxford Annotated Bible. And the scripture's down the middle, and then each side has like paragraphs of explanations of what this means in the middle. And that just tells you where it's at. I had no idea. Is this all academic, some intellectual thing about God? Moved out of that, and ultimately moved to California. And And at the time, I was looking for some help. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. My life had become very unmanageable. And I might have been pictured by a lot of people as successful, but I was unmanageable. And I found this fundamental little church in Santa Ana, and that was very helpful to learn more about what God had to say. But it was very instructional, very rules-based, but I needed rules then. And then I married Tina at that little church, and we quickly got out of that little church because it didn't fit anymore. But we ran out to Trabuco Canyon. We moved away to Trabuco Canyon, which was like moving to another state. But nonetheless, we found this other mega church that was just developing, and we went there for, I don't know, almost 3 decades. And it was very helpful to help us raise our family, and again, give us good instruction on how to be a father and a dad and a family guy and all those stuff, you know, good with the career and things like that. But when we became empty nesters, life again became empty and a little unmanageable, and then 2010 hit, and I had what I looked up in the dictionary. I said, what is an existential crisis? And I looked it up and I said, I think I'm having one of those, okay? So it was really a difficult time, and we were searching because the megachurch wasn't delivering what really fit for us. So we found, I don't know, again, we heard about the effect, looked at the website. I'm going, what is this place? We're going to show up. We're going to see what's going on. But when I showed up, I really liked the music, okay? To me, the music was very soothing, very calming, very healing, and that's the kind of stuff I needed to have at that time to calm me down and help me out a little bit. And I tell people that Dave makes religion really a relationship, and it's kind of simple, okay? I've even told people that Dave takes the anxiety out of religion, okay? So with that, I'm going to let my better half speak, and she's not as old as dirt. She's a lot younger than me.
And you just stole my line about the anxiety.
Well.
We should have rehearsed, which is why I have my notes. I'm so glad to see so many faces here. I think you said 2010. I think it was about 2008 where I realized I was in burnout, and I was also having a crisis of faith. And the megachurch we'd been going to for 27 years, although wonderful and served its purpose greatly as we were raising our family, was no longer helping me or helping us. And I was kind of just sliding down an internal slope that was not healthy at all. And so I was looking for a place to just go hide. I had served for so many years, taught Bible studies, facilitated all kinds of small groups, and I just wanted to hug the back row. And this place allowed me to do that. And I think I did that for about 18 months. But in that time, what it gave me a chance to do was to deconstruct my faith, dissect it, figure out what it was I believed. I knew Jesus was the plumb line, but everything else was up for grabs. And the neat thing about this church and Dave is he invites you to question. He invites you to be curious. He actually welcomes it because it allows us to really then own it. And I realized that I was on autopilot for many years raising the kids. I believed what I believed because that's what was being told to me from the pulpit. And as I said, it served its purpose, and I mean no disrespect toward that. But this was the place I could come and just let down. I found a community of people, as everyone has said, imperfect people that loved me for who I was, and I learned to love them without judgment and without needing to convince them of what I had always felt was to be true, and it opened up dialogue and conversation in a way that had never happened before. It was a safe place, a calming place, a peaceful place. Dave's messages were just soothing, and to piggyback on what Steve said, it took the stress out. It took all the anxiety of the have-tos and the need-tos and the fill-in-the-blanks and the drivenness that I think we see in our culture, but even in our churches today. So I could go on, and I won't, but any of you that are out there searching or just in a place where maybe, you're in that second half of life like we are, not that this isn't a great place for first half as well, but if you're in that place where you're done with church, or you thought you were done with church, or you just didn't know what you wanted, I would just invite you to come and hug that back row if you need to, and sit back and just be curious and ask yourself some questions and let the word pour into you and the music pour into you. We just think it's a fabulous place. So thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to change positions here. And put on my eyes so I can see you again. Oh my gosh, getting older. I truly think the only thing that could make this day any better right now is if Bubba were sitting between Sherry and Judy. I mean, he would so love to be here right now and hear what we just heard. We have just an amazing community here. It's just amazing. It's so intelligent, so insightful. I truly, a lot of nice things were said about me, and I so appreciate it. But truly, I learn as much as I teach. Just being with these people, our Wednesday night group, when we circle up and we're talking back and forth, the wisdom that comes out of that group, it's just amazing. And I love the dialogue. And yes, we encourage everybody. If you all agree with me, then there's only one person thinking in this room, and that shouldn't be. It's like, that's not it. It's not about us agreeing intellectually. It's about us standing shoulder to shoulder. It's about our lives becoming more and more like Jesus. That's what we're after. Why do we name this place The Effect? Because, as Bill read, if there's no effect, if there's no discernible change in our choices and our attitudes and our relationships, then how can we say that we're in love with God, that we are following? This is the reality that we need to get down to.